Where is my... There it is. Okay. So, for those who aren't coming on yet, who will probably watch this video back, I am going to be working on my Hawaii Teresa. So right now I'm sanding down her body. So I've got that done to get all the black off. Hi, Jenny. Nice to see you here. So, as you can see, I have done this part. And for those of you who don't know, the reason there's all this black is because this doll, I tried to tape her together when I was a teenager with electrical tape. And that's why there's all this black stuff. So yeah, this doll has been through the ringer. I did see hi mermaid. Awesome to have you. So yeah, here's her legs, which it's funny because my original intention was to break her in half again so that I could glue her back together, and obviously the super glue that I used was expired super glue. I was notorious for doing that back when I would repair dolls, so yeah, she literally just snapped right in half again, and I was like, yep, I used bad super glue. So I am in the process of sanding this down. She will not be able to twist and turn her waist, but she will be in one piece, and that's all I care about. So, and as far as rerouting, I have done all this so far. Let me see if I can focus this. My phone does not like to focus in on tiny doll faces all the time. Here. Yeah, you can also see her lip. There we go. That's a little better. So yeah, this is what I've gotten done so far. Yeah, I reroute in an awkward way. Some people do the ear to ear and work their way back. But I will literally root one section of her head on this side, and then I will like go around. So yeah, I reroute in a really weird way. But I guess my theory is, like, I can see what progress is being made if more parts of her head are being filled. And it takes me an eternity to just go the zigzag and keep rooting it all the way like that. And it feels like I'm not getting anywhere. So, by doing this, I can see the progress I'm making. So what I'm going to wind up doing is rooting all this. And then I'm going to finish this off, and then I have to do the part line, which is somewhere in there. I'm not sure if I'm going to be using her part line, but, you know. Lately, I've been into the whole, like, slicked back look, like, freshly rerouted sort of look with all that volume, so. But, yeah, you can see her face paint is quite damaged. Yeah, she's missing lash paint, lip paint, which I did a Sharpie on her lips and stained them because I don't have like the proper sealer to be able to repaint her lips. I've seen people use Mr. Super Clear, but that cracks, so, and apparently you have to order it online and stuff. I'm not about that life, so. But yeah, she's missing her eyeliner wing. And it's because when I was a kid, I used to make my dolls do this. Like, I would squeeze their faces in to make them do a mad face, and their eye paint would always crack. So, I don't do that anymore, especially not with older dolls, but I was very rough on my dolls when I was a kid, so. But yeah, as far as rerouting, that is what I have done on her so far. And now I'm just going to be sanding all this gross black stuff off. And I will go over this with acetone to like smooth it out a little bit. But yeah, sadly, she will not be able to move her waist, but the only thing I care about is that she's in one piece. And that's one reason I collect my dolls, is because, like, especially Barbie, I'm I love the nostalgia, and especially having dolls that that are still in my collection. How old is she? Oh, jeez. 1999, the Hawaii line. So Barbie Hawaii. She was the Therese when my friend Tiffany had given me this doll back in 2002. She gave me a bunch of her old dolls. And this was one of them, and she's one of my last surviving dolls. I was 12 when I got this one. And she's been obviously, like, her neck. I think this happened, I'd say, maybe a month after I got her. I was, like, being stupid. And I, like, grabbed onto her hair and I was, like, doing this. And then just pieces went everywhere. And then being the 12-year-old that I was, I lost all the pieces. So, and her arms are just, like, hella loose. Like, this was one of my favorite things to do with my Barbies. Like, I would sit there and I would do this when their arms would get loose. And chances are the arms being loose like this is for me playing with them in the sand. Because, sand will get in the joints and then it will grind down the plastic. And so that's probably why they're loose. And her legs, they're a little loose. But there's nothing I can really do about that. Oh, and you can see that lovely big chunk of super glue right there and there from ages ago. So what I did was I glued her together and then I set her down on a surface. Yeah, I like the rubber bending legs too. The only thing I don't like about them is over time, I mean, look, her knees don't even bend anymore. They just go back into shape. I love, like, the older Barbies. I have a quick curl Barbie. And her knees click 4 times and they hold a pose. Newer dolls, the knees don't last. Yeah, you can see it moved back. So her knees, I'll try to make them, yeah, see? I'll try to make them straight. And they'll just go right back into place. So that always used to frustrate me. Yeah, the legs don't click anymore. That was usually the first thing on my old dolls that would go, was I would sit there and I would do this over and over and over until the legs just wouldn't click anymore. Like a fiddly thing, like I would fiddle with my dolls, and that was one of my favorite parts, was to click their legs. And then they wouldn't bend anymore. So then I'd start squeezing their heads. I guess it was like a nervous thing. Do I have a Bratz? Oh, you have no idea. I don't even know how many Bratz dolls I have. I have Bratz, I have Moxie Girls, I have Live dolls, Moxie Teens, pretty much all kinds of different fashion dolls. One doll I don't have is a Diva Star, like a Diva Stars doll, because they're, like, super hard to find. But yeah, I kind of want one. I used to have a McDonald's one, a Diva Star, and you would, like, put pieces of paper in her shoe area. There was, like, a little compartment, and you would clamp down, and it would make, like, a hole punch. And the hole punch was, like, in the shape of stars or moons or something. So I would like to have, like, an actual Diva Star. But Bratz dolls, I have so freaking many of those. I don't play with them as much as I used to. As much as I should. Oh, heck yeah. I'm gonna get... the doll that I want to get is Jasmine. I just love her pink and purple and blue theme. And her hair is super long. I love her sultry eyes. She's just so freaking pretty. I do have a first edition Chloe. but she's naked. So I want to get the other Chloe. I want to get the reproduction so that I can put her in the second outfit so that she could have clothes. Because she is naked. I'm hoping I can get around to gluing this doll. But yeah, I also collect rainbow high dolls too. I haven't uploaded any videos of them just out of laziness and lack of motivation to make videos, but hopefully I will get around to making some videos of my rainbow high collection. It's very small, but the dolls are kind of expensive for my budget. And oh yeah, I'm a Mycene fan. I have quite a few Mycene dolls, but not as many as Bratz. Mycene dolls are kind of hard to find secondhand because a lot of people like them. But you best believe whenever I see them secondhand, I grab them up. And I've rerouted 2 Mycene dolls so far. I gave one lavender hair, and then I gave another one. I gave a Chelsea one. I gave her like almost burgundy-ish, brownish hair. I would have to show her, but I don't know where she is. Like, I do know where she is, but she's kind of hard to get to. So maybe I will do it. I did a video of my Mycene collection years ago, but I think I've acquired more since that video, so maybe I should do an update. I also have loads of Monster High dolls, too. Pretty much fashion dolls. I mean, fashion dolls, I'm gonna collect it. But, you know, Barbie is my main doll. I didn't like Bratz back in the day, though, like when they first came out, because the big heads. I was so used to Barbie. So the big head thing and the fact that their feet popped off. I was like, well, if I lose her shoes, then she's not going to have feet. So, but you know, I take better care of my dolls now. And the ones that I didn't take care of, like this one, back when I was a kid and a teenager, I'm making up for it now. Aw, man. You gave away all your rainbow high dolls? That's so sad. See, once I get dolls, it's like they become a part of me. I have a hard time parting with my dolls. Especially if they're dolls I had a long time. And I build memories with them. See, I thought about giving away all my Monster High dolls once because I'd gotten into them for a while, but then I kind of wasn't into them, but I'm kind of getting back into them again. Yeah. Yep, that can definitely. A lot of my dolls had to go in storage and stuff like that, and what the storage was literally under a carport at this my sister-in-law's aunt. It's a house that she owns, and it's just got 3 generations full of stuff in it. There was no room for my stuff to go in this house, so I had to put all my stuff outside under a carport and cover it with a tarp. And a lot of things got rain damaged and stuff like that. We moved into a bigger house, though, so everything is in a garage now. But yeah, that definitely does suck when having to downsize. I've gotten rid of a lot of stuff, though. Not dolls, but I did get rid of some shelves that were falling apart. They were kind of old. So I find when I'm sanding stuff down, things start slipping. What I might wind up doing with her, like, pelvic area, so like the front and back bottom part, I might paint this with nail polish to make some underwear. Like some of the older Barbies, they would have like they would have like silver underwear, they'd have white or pink underwear. So maybe I'll paint her some red underwear or something, or a little something something just to cover up all this black stuff, because I really don't feel like sanding all that off. But as for her torso, most of the black is gone. So I think just a little more sanding and I'll be able to glue her back together. And then I'll be able to reroute, like start working on rerouting her. I've already got some plugs made the way that I reroute. If you've ever seen the channel 1,000 Splendid Dolls, this is the technique that I use, the way she reroutes. And that's literally, here's some of the hair plugs that I made. So I literally knot them in the middle, and then that creates 2 hair plugs. So you root one side of the hair plug into one hole, and then you root the other side into the other hole, and the knot in the middle keeps the tension there so that the plug can't go in and out. So it's kind of like the lock loop technique when you fold the hair in half and then it creates a chain, but it's more secure because the plugs are knotted and there's not going to be strands coming out. So yeah. And she's getting a thick hair too. I have a problem with giving them really thick hair. So, yeah, her hair right now, let me see. You compare that to the size of her arm. Yeah, so she's gonna have some thick hair, but she deserves it. And I'm not even done yet, so her hair is just gonna get thicker as I go on. But it's all good. She's a 90s doll, and one thing about 90s dolls is they were always loaded with hair, and that's what I loved. With the 90s dolls, the hair was like the thing. So, yeah, there's another doll that I removed the hair on tonight. I actually removed all her hair. See, saran hair, I know a lot of you are going to kill me for saying this, but saran hair is like my least favorite hair fiber. And that's because of this. I'm not sure if you can see that, but this is the doll that I cut the hair off of. She is a 1996 University cheerleader Barbie. And she had so many split ends. So many split ends, so much breakage. And it's hard to bring saran hair back from this. So yeah, it's really, really hard to revive saran hair when it's been super damaged. But with Kanekalon hair, which is my favorite hair type, you can boil wash it. It can be the matted, the most balled up, nasty looking cotton ball, and all you do is boil wash it after brushing it out and shampoo conditioner, and you boil wash it and it goes pin freaking straight again. So that's one reason I love Kanekalon hair. Like, for example, here's a Barbie. This doll had like wavy hair originally, and her hair was a frizzy mess, but now it's like, it's shiny, and I love the way it moves. And for those of you who might wonder, like, I get this all the time on my channel. People are like, ooh, what Barbie is that? So this one is actually 2003. She's from 2003. She's the Princess Palace Barbie. And I absolutely love the early 2000s Barbie faces, the Generation Girl mold. And Barbie's facial screening was always changing back then, like in the early 2000s. I just freaking love it. And you know you've got a Barbie with good click knees when you can actually hear it. So there's that one. So yeah, you know you've got a Barbie with good click knees when you can actually hear them clicking and they hold a pose. But yeah, she's got one bent arm. I do not have her original outfit, so. But you know, that's what happens when you find Barbies secondhand. I freaking love this era of Barbie. The 90s and the early 2000s, just that's whenever I was like majorly like into Barbie when I was a kid. So me and my friends would like go out on the playground and play with our dolls, and my friend Nikki would come over and we would play dolls. It was just such memories. The only thing about like early 2000s Barbies I don't like is they weren't always loaded with hair like a 90s doll. So like you compare her hair to the size of her arm. It's just a teensy bit thinner. But I think back then they were going for a more natural look. So the hair had to be thinner so it wouldn't be so volumized. But you know, we all love us a doll with some thick hair. Yeah, I agree. Like, at least with me, and my personal experience, Kanekalon hair for me is so much easier to maintain. And not only that, with Saran hair, I've had so many Barbies that I'll go to brush their hair when it gets damaged, and it'll just start breaking off. Like, pieces will start breaking off. So, Saran hair is nice when it's brand new. But after it gets, like, super, super damaged, it's hard to bring it back from where it was. Or it's hard to bring it back to what it used to be. But with Kanekalon hair, I mean, my story with Kanekalon hair, I had a Pretty Flowers Barbie who was a brunette. And I remember I'd seen someone like washing their doll's hair in hot water and stuff. And I would go to wash my doll's hair in hot water, and I've noticed it would get a little bit straighter. So I just decided I said, screw it, I'm going to dunk her head in some hot water. And my Pretty Flowers doll had the frizziest, most poofed out bangs ever. And as soon as they hit the boiling water, they went pin straight. And I couldn't believe what had just happened. I was like, oh my gosh, how come I never knew about this? How come I never knew that Kanekalon hair would go pin freaking straight with boiling water? And it wasn't like boiling water. It just little bitty air bubbles here and there. I used to boil wash my doll's hair on the stove, but now I just heat it up in the microwave. It works out just as fine. The water doesn't stay hot as long, but you know. Now, I mean, Kanekalon hair, it can wrinkle up if you use too hot of water. But I mean, if you do that and it wrinkles up and starts to look frizzy, you just you basically dump that water out, put some more water in a bowl, and then heat it for a little less time, and then you just dunk the Kanekalon hair in and just comb it straight under a less intense temperature, and you should be good. I mean, now here, yes, Kanekalon hair, that's what I use to reroot my dolls. This is Kanekalon hair from the beauty supply store. And it used to have a crimpy texture in it. So yeah, it used to have like a crimp in it. But as soon as it hit the water when I boil washed it, it went straight like this. And it's just super nice. This stuff is a lot shinier than Barbie grade or fashion doll grade Kanekalon hair. It's a lot heavier like Saran hair. So, but I'm a girl on a budget, so this is what I use to reroot dolls. Because when you buy doll hair online, it's like $6 or something plus shipping to root one Barbie head. Oh yeah, I agree. Like, and it's gonna look even more luxurious once I'm done rerooting her, and I'm gonna trim her hair because I don't want it to be this long, but I'm gonna leave it long. Her original hair was maybe this long, about to her back. I don't want her hair to be that short because I still want to be able to braid it and style it and do stuff like that. And she's a Hawaii, like she's on vacation, like she's from the Barbie Hawaii line, so she's vacationing in Hawaii. So, you want to have a doll with like super long hair and stuff like that. That would have been cute to use pink or blue. I wanted her, since she was a doll that I had when I was a kid, I just wanted to restore her with her original hair colors. You're not going to be able to see it on camera, but like you can see black. You might be able to see blacks and browns in there. And basically, what I did was I took two different sections of hair, I combined them together, and then I brushed them repeatedly. So I would brush them. So pretend this is the section of hair that I took. So, like, one side is black, one side is brown. And so I took them and I brushed them together, turned it over, and brushed them some more, and I kept repeating the process until the hairs were blended. And so, and that's what the factories do. They will they will pre-mix the hair before they root it in, and it creates that nice little highlighted effect. So I wanted her to have her original hair colors for the sake of nostalgia. And because this was actually my first Teresa doll, my very first Barbie Teresa doll. I had never actually had my own until this one, and I was super thrilled. But this doll, if I were going to give her a fantasy hair color, I would probably go with either red, because her original bathing suit was red. It was like red, blue, and white, and I think there might have been green on it. I don't know. But yeah, so I probably would have given her like cherry red hair, something like that. I don't know. And she had red stud earrings, but I took them out because I needed to reroute her. And if you reroute dolls with their earrings, then sometimes the hair plugs can tangle around the little prongs at the end of the earring. I've had that happen loads of times. But as for University Cheerleader Barbie, I'm just going to reroute her, like restore her. There's a funny story behind her. This is not my original one that I had. I've had her since I was maybe 17. But the story behind her was my friend Emily. Well, she's kind of my former friend because that was so long ago. But I was like 13. There was these apartments that I moved into in Weatherford, Texas, called the Jameson Street Apartments. And I met a girl named Emily there, and we used to play Barbies all the time. And then she took me into her room one day to give me like a tour of her house. And I saw her Barbies, and I was like, oh, you have Barbies. Can I have some? And she was like, sure, I don't play with those anymore. And so she gave me a University Cheerleader Barbie, and there was a My First Barbie that was on a Sun Lovin' Malibu Barbie's body. So there was definitely a skin tone variation with that, and her hair was cut off. But like a week later, she wanted her University Cheerleader Barbie back. So, and she like threw a fit over it, so I had to give her her Barbie back. So I was really sad that I didn't have her anymore. I remember calling her Mechanical Barbie. Like, I didn't know about articulation or like posability or stuff like that. So I just called her like Mechanical Barbie. And like back then I had a tape recorder, and it was like me documenting stuff. So I would go in. I remember getting the two dolls and going in my room and turning on my tape recorder. It was like a tape recorder slash radio slash CD player. And I literally put a tape in and started recording. And I was like, today, I was like 13. And I was like, today, I just got a hard, I used to call like the stiff legged ones that had like one knee bent. I used to call them hard-legged Barbies or hard-legged girl Barbies. So I was like, I got my new hard-legged girl Barbie, and like I tapped the camera and stuff like to give you the sound of how hard her legs were. So I was like, I got my new hard-legged girl Barbie, and she does that. And then I was like, and now I got my new mechanical Barbie, and she's right here. And I was like shaking her around and stuff. She's cool and she can flip over and do stuff. And so I like threw her in the air and let her hit the ground. So that was my weird story about this doll, but I got this one way later on, and I was like super thrilled that I'd finally got her back, even though her neck was broken and stuff, but I didn't care. I was like, I finally got my doll back. And now I have two other ones. Like, this one is actually the original one I had. I'm not sure if you're going to be able to see that, but it says China, Mattel China. And I have two other ones that are made in Malaysia. So, the Malaysia ones, they have like bigger looking eyes, and the China one has more like sleepy eyes, I guess you would say. That's what I love about collecting different variants is some will have different, their face will look slightly different from a doll in a different country. So it's always really fascinating. But yeah, the one thing I didn't like about these like gymnast Barbie bodies and stuff is their knees would always go loose. I have several hula hair Barbies that I have rubber banded around their legs, like put clear elastics around so that they don't do this. It's crazy to think how far we've come though from Barbie articulation, because before the legs could only go forward and backward, but now it's like the shoulder on this doll where the legs can go all around and stuff, and we have double joints on them. The made to move body is pretty cool, but it's not as, in my opinion, it's not as feminine looking, I guess. Like more action figure like. So, and I never really liked these I never really liked these feet on Barbie, but the one thing I do like about them is she can stand on her own. Like, she doesn't need like shoes or anything to stand or anything. She doesn't need an actual like stand. She can just stand on her own with these feet because they're perfectly flat. Oh, and yeah, as you can see, I used to paint their nails when I was a teenager. So yeah, I would get my actual nail polish out and paint them. Sometimes I would paint bathing suits on my doll. I still kind of do that occasionally. If I have a doll with a damaged body or something, I'll paint a bathing suit on them. You know, just to give them a funky new style. I love using like metallic nail polish to like give them bras and panties and stuff. So that kind of stuff is really fun. So, yeah, I think I got all the black off, mostly. I guess we can glue her together. So get my trusty super glue. Now, I hate this kind of super glue in the tube like this. I like the one that's in the teensy little bottle, because this stuff is always running and going everywhere. And the lid always likes to get stuck. Oh my gosh, seriously? Yeah, it's not working. I had this open earlier, and now it's not cooperating. Okay, there we go. You know, I guess I will. Let me see. Oh, that sounds nice. I'm just reading some comments. So, Vianney, Vanne. I can't. I'm dyslexic, so I cannot pronounce that. So, but that's cool that you're gonna reroute her. I highly suggest rerouting if her hair is damaged. Definitely. It's always nice to give dolls new hair. And especially if you're gonna reroute her with long hair, then that gives you so much hair to play with. And it gives the doll a new life. I mean, I'm all about like preserving dolls because they're a part of history. And one thing that always fascinates me about like used dolls, like anybody can go to a store and buy a doll. But like one thing that fascinates me is, you know, being curious about where the dolls came from, like who their owners were, what play patterns did the previous owners, you know, have and stuff like that, or where did their owners take their dolls? Like, did they go on little adventures? Like with me, I used to take my dolls out into the woods and just walk around with them and be with nature and just to be alone. Because I didn't really have many friends growing up, so I had my dolls and I had the woods and stuff like that. So I'd just go out into the woods with my dolls and just be. Okay, so we got loads of super glue on there. Now the thing I need to make sure I do is glue this on straight. Okay. Yeah, because there's been times where I would glue my Barbies back together like this, and they would be so freaking crooked. I think I might have sanded a little bit too much off, but you know what? We'll make it work. We will make it work. Whoops. Okay, there we go. It's like fitting a puzzle together. Okay. So I'm probably going to have to pour some glue down in there. Okay. Yeah, some super glue got on her leg a little bit, but I'm pretty sure she's just going to be happy to be back in one piece. I'm hoping that she doesn't break again. I'm going to try to glue her together to where she can't ever come apart again. That super glue that I'd used, gosh, I don't even remember. I don't even remember how long ago that was. But I know that it wasn't very good super glue. This had to have been when I was like a teenager when I last glued her together. So yeah, I totally just destroyed memories from when I was a teenager, but you know what? Those memories deserve to be destroyed because I did a horrible job on this. Freaking electrical tape. And one thing that's weird about electrical tape is the adhesive that tapes things together. It gets all gooey over time, and that's why it came off on her. Though I did see somebody once make an electrical tape dress for one of their childhood dolls. It actually looked really cool, but I was like cringing knowing that there's all that goop under there sticking to their doll. Because obviously I've lived through this. I've done this before. Never again though. I will never tape a doll together again. Those are ancient times right there. But yeah, I think I might paint her some panties on to cover up all this black, and then she'll look super styling. She's got some like dents on her boobage. I think that was from me throwing her around. I think this is from her. Like, I tell you I was rough with my dolls. No, I was actually rough with my dolls. Like, I would take them out and throw them and stuff and let them hit the ground. I would put their arms up and make them do cartwheels. So I would take a Barbie and I would throw the Barbie with her arms in the air. And if you threw the doll just right, she would start doing cartwheels. It was the craziest thing. Especially if you get ones with arms like these that are kind of springy. I think that's how they do the cartwheels, is the arms like spring up or whatever. But dolls would lose their heads. Their boobs would get all scratched up from like landing on the sidewalk or the road. So I think that's what that's from. Yeah. And of course they would break in half for me doing that. So I don't think that's what happened to her for me doing that, but it was so long ago, I don't even freaking know. But yeah, a lot of people, there was someone, I don't remember who it was, but they were like, you must really care about these dolls to keep them when they're in that sort of condition. I'm like, yeah, if I've had a doll for a really long time and I have lots of memories with her, then you best believe I'm not getting rid of her, especially this one since she was my first Teresa doll. My very, I barely even have my first doll of anything. So, like my very first Barbie, I don't have her anymore. She was the cut and style redhead. She wound up getting her head broken off. I cut her hair because I thought it would grow back. I didn't even know she was a cut and style doll. I didn't even know what type of Barbie she was when I was a kid. The story behind my first Barbie, the cut and style one, I remember I was like 5 and I went into my mom's room to get something. Like she had sent me into her room to get something, I don't remember. And then I saw this, I just called her the redhead Barbie back then. And I saw this redhead Barbie on her vanity in her room. Her room was like really dark, so I could like barely see. But I just made out the silhouette of the doll, and I knew she had like slightly red hair and red lips. And I was like, oh my gosh, that's like the most beautiful thing I've ever seen in my life. And she was naked, and her hair was matted with the ponytail holder stuck in it and everything. But I did not care. I was like, oh my gosh, this is the most beautiful thing I've ever laid my eyes on. And I just remember just falling in love with her red lips and her bright bluish green eyes. She had like forest green eyeshadow on, and she had that choker on that had the fancy little gold pendant. And I just thought she was the most beautiful thing in the world. So, and then I remember I felt really bad about it because my grandma had gone in my room because I was living with my grandma. Off and on, I would switch from my grandma to my mom, whole like childhood backstory and everything. So yeah, I would always switch around from Granny to Mom. But Granny was more of the doll person. Like she liked dolls and making clothes for them and stuff like that. So she went through the trouble of detangling that doll's hair while I was at school. She detangled her hair and she cleaned her up all nice and everything and braided her hair, put her on my dresser. She was still naked because she was homeless, basically. A lot of my Barbies were homeless when I was little. So she was still naked because I didn't have any doll clothes. But she went through all that trouble to clean my doll up. And then I wound up breaking her head off because I wanted to see what the thing underneath looked like what was holding her head on. I wanted to see what it looked like because I was really curious. And then her neck joint literally snapped. And then I cut all her hair off to her freaking shoulders. After Granny spent all that time cleaning her up and braiding her hair all nicely. I feel so bad about that. So yeah, that was my story about my very first Barbie. Now my very first Barbie product, I guess you would say. I don't know, but I do still have that. She was my very first Barbie experience. She was a little Happy Meal figurine. She was the bicycling Barbie from 1995, I believe. And I cut her hair off too, but I still have that. I still have her. But my first actual Barbie, she is long gone. I remember for the longest time, Sparkle Beach Barbie stayed on her body because my mom had gone into our old playroom. I guess she had some other kids visiting at some point, and then like they were probably other girls that came over to visit. I think my mom like babysat. So we had all these toys and stuff in in the playroom at my mom's house. And my mom went through these like huge totes or whatever and found 2 doll heads. And one of them was an original Stacy doll from the 90s, like 94, 95. I just remember she was a Stacy with pink earrings and crimped hair. And then she found a Sparkle Beach Barbie head, and Sparkle Beach Barbie stayed on Cut and Style Barbie's body for a while. So eventually, cut and style Barbie. I remember after going back to my mom's house for a while, I went to Granny's house, and then I got cut and style Barbie's head, took her with me, and then I went to the lake one day, and she sank to the bottom of the lake. So, yep, I literally lost her head in the lake. And I honestly don't remember what happened to Sparkle Beach Barbie on Cut and Style's body. So it's like I had two first Barbies. So there's that little weird story. And yeah, I'm the type that will just ramble and ramble and ramble, so you're pretty much getting an earful right now. But I like, oh my gosh, just slow down. But yeah, here we go. She is glued together. Oh yeah, that is, she is nice and together. Oh yeah. Yeah, she's not coming apart again. So I guess I will show you guys how I reroute. I've made several videos over this. But the videos, I'm never satisfied with them. So I mean, I might as well show you again how I do this. So sometimes I can use a tiny little needle like this. I prefer to use a bigger one. Let me see if I can find it. Here's another one. It's not quite as big as the other one that I was using, but I was trying to set everything up earlier, and my whole thing of like tools and stuff, it's literally, well, it's empty right now, but I keep all my tools and everything for restoring dolls, like my screwdrivers for pulling out the hair, and like scraping the inside of the head to get the hair out, and my tweezers and stuff like that. I have pliers. I keep it all in this Hannah Montana pencil case. So I was trying to get everything set up, and I flung this thing, and it landed like that, upside down, and everything came out. So it's all on the table now. Oh wait, here we go. See, I have this needle. There's this one, but then I also have this one. So yeah, and I got these from Walmart ages ago. And this one's like bent from me rerouting. So what I like to do is I have a cup of water. And these are plugs that I pre-made. There's tons of dog hair all over the floor, so it's trying to get my doll hair. Dog hair and doll hair getting mixed up. Not a good combination. So I'm going to wet this down. I also do have a spray bottle. So yeah, I have this spray bottle. It used to have detangler in it. But you can reuse stuff like that for anything that you need a spray bottle for. Okay. So here's Miss Teresa. So I have wet my hair plugs down. So literally I'm going to take like this. Yeah, and sorry if I'm doing a lot of this off camera. I haven't gone live in a really long time. I'd say it's been about 2 years, because I'm so used to making videos and just uploading them. So yeah. You'll have to excuse me if I get a little, like, not necessarily stuttery, but that's probably one of the reasons I'm rambling so much, is because I haven't done this in so long. So yeah, what I'm doing is I am sticking the needle into the holes to stretch them out a little bit. And then I thread the eye of the needle through. And I'm kind of squeezing the head a little bit to push out the hole a little farther so I can easily push it in. It would help if this was in focus. Oh wow, I'm just missing a whole bunch of comments. Do I make doll clothes? No, well, I've made doll clothes before, but I'm usually not very good when it comes to making doll clothes. They usually turn out like super basic. My grandma was the one that she literally made a Kelly doll, like a little nightgown for one of my Kelly dolls. So, and it was like intricate little details. I wish I still had it because then I could have showed you guys how intricate it was. And I'm upset that I didn't get that from her. But I'm sure if I, you know, I'm sure if I really got motivated to do it, I could probably be really good at it like she was. Also, I don't have a sewing machine, so. Let's see. Yeah, I have the Nutcracker doll too. She's just a head right now, so. I need to find her a body. Oh, thanks, Jenny. It's always nice to hear people say that it's relaxing because I get annoyed by my own voice, so. So, especially with my older videos. So yeah, I'm literally going to thread the plug of hair through the eye of the needle. And then you just pop it through. And there we go. And then you go on the one next to it. Push it through. Make that end all nice and straight. And I am such a perfectionist at this, like if one little hair gets out of place, I literally have to pull the whole hair plug through the eye of the needle and then pull it back out a little bit. And there you go. It just really gets on my OCD if there's one plug or if there's one strand of hair that just doesn't want to go through. So yeah, go to the next one, pop it through, push it through. Oh yeah, that's one thing I was going to do earlier is focus this. My camera just doesn't have any idea what's going on. Aw, my relaxing noises stopped. I was watching some like ASMR stuff, which was basically just Bob Ross paintings. It's him painting mountains and stuff, so I'm gonna press replay. There we go. All right. Where did my hair plugs go? Oh, there they are. See, there's a lot of electrical appliances and stuff on the table. So since this hair is dark, I thought that it was a wire. And I was like, okay, where'd my hair plugs go? It's amazing how much stuff can disappear when you're just sitting in one spot. So thread that through. And sometimes you'll get this where the other end doesn't want to come through, but what you do is you just pull on each one of these So yeah, you pull on each one of these, and whichever one starts to come through, that's the end. And there you go. Goes right through. That easy. I would use a rerouting tool, but I don't like the idea of gluing my doll's hair. I don't know. So I feel like it's worth the extra effort to make the little knots. Also, I just don't like gluing my doll's head. I like it to be like at the factory where the head just feels empty. I hate it when there's one hole that's like super close to another one. Yeah. So. Okay. Sorry about that. My phone had died. I had to replug it in. Okay. Let me see if I can't scoot this over. Yeah, you can't really see anything. Maybe if I try turning some lights on. Meanwhile, you can just stare at Teresa's head. But yeah, for those who didn't know what happened, my phone died, so. I didn't even realize how much power I was using. But I'm in a dark area right now because my phone is literally up against the wall being plugged in, so. I might have to cut this short. Okay. That didn't really make it any better. So, I guess we're just gonna have to travel for a second. So yeah, probably. Alrighty. Yeah, as soon as I unplugged my phone, it died again. Because my phone is a Stone Age piece of junk. So what I think I'm going to do is route these last hair plugs in and call it a night. Because my phone is like really heating up. So I'm going to try to finish this up. If my phone can maintain consciousness for 2 seconds. At least. But at least I think it should be better lighting in here. Yeah. Okay. So as I was saying in that one video, yeah, about the hair plug, yeah, that one ripped into that one, so it's okay. I'm just gonna go back through that one. My hair plugs kind of dried out whilst I was trying to gather everything together. Yeah, you see that one hair that just don't want to get in. That really bugs me. Just like, no, every last bit of hair needs to get in there. It's like, I know it can do it. I know it wants to. It's just being ornery. It's just got an attitude. And it doesn't want to get in there. So I'm going to wet this hair plug down again. Okay. And then we pull it through. It's that easy. But yes, rerooting can be a very time-consuming, tedious process. But the fact that you can give dolls brand new hair when they didn't have, maybe they didn't have very good quality hair before, or maybe their hair was cut off or damaged. I think it is just amazing how you can take a doll and give her brand new hair. And you can do any color you want, you can do any length you want, you can do any style you want. The possibilities, it's almost endless. You can make the hair as thick or thin as you want it to be. I mean, even like, she's got some like gaps here, so you could add more holes to make her hair even thicker. I mean, it's endless. See, when I was a kid and even a teenager, I was like, I know there's gotta be a way to get the hair back in there, like to get new hair and get it back in there. But I just couldn't figure it out. But how I discovered rerooting is there is a channel. They don't upload anymore. They haven't uploaded in, I think, since 2009 or 2012 or something like that. But the channel is called My Little Customs, and I think they're from London, or they have that accent. But yeah, that's literally how I learned how to reroot, is from their channel. And I was like, I knew it. I knew that there was a way to be able to do it, to get new hair in there. Yeah, we got one. Okay, there it goes. One little hair strand wasn't willing to cooperate with me. But I eventually got it in there. But that's just something that really fascinates me, is doll restoration and preserving a piece of history. And even this doll, I mean, she's not in the best condition, but she's still, even if you have a doll that's not in the best condition, she's still a piece of your history. And I think it's well worth the effort to save them. Okay. And especially with this doll, I've never actually seen her with a full head of hair. Like, I think when I got her, she was missing plugs. And she had had a haircut. So it'll be pretty satisfying to be able to get to finally see this doll with a boatload of hair. Get that plug in there. You know, and here's one right here. I'm just gonna like, there we go. So like with these, they're really close together. I'm just gonna combine those into one. So I'm gonna push this in there. So now those two hair plugs are one. And that's kind of what I do when I'm lazy. So I do have 4 more little plugs. Yeah, so this one's got a big enough knot, so that should be enough to hold it in there. Yeah, that should definitely be enough. But yeah, it's always really sad whenever you have a doll that the scalp gets really sensitive and it just keeps splitting and splitting when you go to reroot it. I've had that happen before, where I literally couldn't reroot the hair because the scalp kept splitting. There are people that do make some pretty bomb wigs, though, for Barbie-sized dolls. So, I mean, if all else fails, just glue a wig on them and call it a day. But still, I like for the hair to be rooted in. Yeah, so I can get pretty fast at this. Like, if I'm really in the mode, I can get, like, if I'm in the zone, I can really get fast at this. Bam. There we go. Yeah, and then we've got all these plugs that are like super, super duper close together. So I'm going to try to be a little more delicate. It's also best when you get to smaller rows, like rows of smaller hair plugs that are closer together, to use tinier hair plugs. Last one. Last hair plug that I have made. And I need to wet that. The only thing I don't like about Kanekalon hair, at least this type of Kanekalon from the beauty supply stores, it dries out so fast when I'm rerooting with it. So I have to keep wetting it down. But I mean, it's beneficial because after you're done rerooting it, see, I'm the impatient type. So after I wash the hair, after rerooting, because I wash the hair thoroughly, like twice with dish soap, and then I put conditioner, and then I boil wash. I hate waiting for the hair to dry, because after I'm done rerooting, I want to play with my doll. So it's like I got a brand new doll because she's got a brand new head of hair, and I want to play with her. So that is one benefit of this hair drying so fast, but when you're working with it, it's kind of frustrating. So yeah, that was the last hair plug that I had made. So anyhow, those of you who are still watching, thank you so much for tuning in, and I love being able to communicate with you guys. It's nice that people watch you even if you're rambling and being super annoying. But yeah, I hope you guys have a wonderful dollrific night, and I will be sure to post more content later on, more videos to come, and remember to stay true to you.